all of you can ask your clients what do they like most and what they like least about your programs, and voila, you've got data. It's embarrassing and hard to ask that sometimes, but ask. It's okay. So get real data, get out of your head. No need in creating any of this in some dark room, secrety. Like, just do it out in public and you'll be okay.
Hey guys, I wanted to jump in here really quick to give you a free gift for listening to the Lucky Titan podcast. This is going to be something that is truly going to revolutionize your business. Cannot wait for you to see it. Check this out.
Are you ready to share your message with the world? Introducing PitchDB, the all-in-one platform revolutionizing the way speakers connect with podcasts, conferences, and media outlets. With access to over 3 million platforms, finding your perfect speaking opportunity has never been easier. Our AI integrations create personalized bios and pitches, setting you apart from the crowd. Join the movement of speakers taking the world stage today. Join now at pitchdb.com.
Wasn't that awesome? I am so excited about PitchDB, and thank you, PitchDB, for giving us the free 1-month trial to anybody who's a listener of the Lucky Titan podcast. So guys, if you want to claim this, all you have to do is click the link somewhere here in the description or head to pantheon.fm/pitch. Once again, guys, that's pantheon.fm/pitch. Cannot wait to see you guys there. So now let's hop into the episode. What's up, guys? We're back. So excited to be here today. Guys, you've probably recognized this face next to mine if you're watching this on video, because this is one of my favorite guests of all time, Chris Williams. And we've gone beyond being guests. We've become really good friends. Would you agree, Chris? Is that okay?
I don't know. We'll see at the end of this show. We'll see if we're still friends.
I assume we're friends.
No, like, we've been able to hang out more than most people in this virtual space that we all live in. Then, like, you and I had a lot of hangout time. Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours pitching each other at events. You guys hear me talk about Chris and probably our buddy Alex Sanfilippo too, probably every episode. I mention you guys almost every episode. So really excited to have you back in, man, first off, because it's going to be a fun one. Now, today, I wanted to talk about a couple of things with you today, Chris, because I think most people listening to this show, at least I would hope, are planning on starting a mastermind or a coaching program of some sort, because we're constantly talking about leverage media, sell high ticket, right? And doing something that's got high margin, like a mastermind, a coaching program or whatnot. And you're literally one of the best of the best. Let me rephrase that. You are the best at building masterminds and group coaching programs. So I want to ask you, man, because we are going to be talking about this. This will be the title of the episode, is, why people's coaching programs aren't selling in 2024, because it's been interesting. There actually has been a decline in purchasing in 2024 of coaching programs across the board, which is really, really interesting. So I'm kind of curious, why aren't they selling, Chris? Take it away.
Man. Okay, this is really interesting, Josh, because I was like pinging around to a bunch of other coach buddies of mine too and saying, what's going on in all spaces? So what we've done is we've compiled a lot of that information, and it's selling. It's not selling for some people. It's selling more for others. People are buying coaching. It's just, what are they buying coaching for, and what's moving them to want to buy the coaching? Humans haven't changed in the past 6 months. The reasons for buying or not buying have changed. That's the thing. So I don't know about the rest of you out there. Like, this is such a big thing. If you're worried, like, okay, my sales haven't been the way they are. I experienced this during the pandemic or pre-pandemic or in 2008 or whenever it was for you, you felt that roller coaster hit before. You've got to re-engage, and you've got to understand why. So Josh, I think today, if we can just break that down, I've got 4 main topics from a research standpoint that I think would be really helpful. We can go that direction.
Dude, 100%. And I actually expected you to say the reason they aren't buying your program is because they're buying mine, but that was the right answer.
We felt, it's funny, Josh, just full transparency. We felt the blip early on, like in January, and then we fixed it because we did the homework. And so you guys can fix it. Just fix it. It's okay.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because we had that same problem. And what was interesting is that I think a lot of people panic in those moments when it blips. So I'm hoping the information you're going to share with us is going to actually help kind of remove the panic side of it and go, okay, it's math. Because if there's one thing you guys can know about Chris, I'm just going to direct this directly to you guys listening to this, but I've watched Chris for the last, 4 years? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
we've been working together for quite a while. I've watched you, and you're probably one of the most data-centric people I've ever worked with, which is, you only make decisions based on, first off, providing the best experience for your clients is obviously always top of mind to you, but it's always data, right? And so I love that because you're making decisions unemotionally. So I'm going to stop interrupting you here. You go ahead and share your steps.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And let me just piggyback on that, Josh. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you say, we like to create an awesome experience for our clients. But the reason that's that way is because it's data. All of you can ask your clients what do they like most and what they like least about your programs. And voila, you've got data. It's embarrassing and hard to ask that sometimes, but ask. It's okay. So get real data, get out of your head. No need in creating any of this in some dark room, secrety. Like just do it out in public and you'll be okay. You can find the data you need. So all right, let's dive into this. 4 things we got to cover. This is what we call the Mastermind method. So this is something we've kind of built over time, honestly, to help me stay on track more than my team or our clients. I'm probably the dumbest person in the room. I'm super easy distracted. I got to have a method to follow. Okay, so number 1, the Mastermind market method. This is what we had to pay attention to early on in 2024. This is what we have to go back to occasionally. Every time we get a political swing, a financial swing, some big news event, something goes on, everything gets a little weird. Okay, the Mastermind market method. It's hell out there when you don't know who you're talking to or if who has shifted. That's a huge, complicated problem. So we feel like, oh my gosh, and Josh, you might feel this way. Listeners, you might feel this way too. Like, you can sell and you can help and you can provide this awesome knowledge you have, but you feel like the who you're talking to has changed somehow. Why are they not responding? Why are they not listening? Is it the right audience? Has that market shifted? Is something going wrong? So having a method where you can just sit down and park it and say, I'm going to define my market again. I know you've all done it before. And I don't mean drawing a pretty little picture of your avatar and deciding how old they are and what color shoes they wear. I don't mean that. I mean, like, truly, who has a checkbook out there or a credit card or a bank account and desperately needs your help that you actually want to help? Let me say that again. Who has the money that you can help that you actually want to help? It's kind of that simple. Okay. Think through those 3 things, write them down on a piece of paper. Who has the money that you can help with something in your skill set, your knowledge base, whatever, that you actually want to help? I know I can help a lot of people, but some people out there I just simply don't want to hang out with. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just people, right?
Absolutely.
So when you figure that out and you find those 3 circles, the Venn diagram and what's in the middle there, that's when all of a sudden you start making real connections and your market starts leaning in and listening. And things have changed in your market's mind in the past several months. There's a political cycle coming up here in the States, the economy, the war, the whatever. Like, those things matter. Understand your market. Does that make sense, Josh?
Dude, that's so good. And can I intervene here really quick and say, interject. It's Monday, guys, when we're recording this. Oh boy. But what's interesting to me, because when you're saying that, you're going, and I want to just highlight this one point, which is who has the money, who has the desperate need? Because I think what ends up happening is most people go, who has the desperate need? And they don't look at, okay, sometimes
broke people have a desperate need.
Yeah. They have a lot of desperate needs that could be solved by simple things that they haven't done yet. You're probably not the solve to that. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It means it's a horrible place to go sell your product, right? So I love that. And again, if we're putting this in the frame of Mastermind market method, is what you called it, or marketing method?
Mastermind market method.
Mastermind market
Who's
method.
the market?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're looking at the market as a whole, like who are they, where are they? And I love that you do this because we actually, you're actually validating this for me, because I go and every quarter we have a session, we take a day, me and my business partners, and we say, who do we want to serve? Not who are our existing clients, right? But we ask ourselves this question. I'm going to use that sentence you gave us, by the way. Who has the money with a desperate problem who I actually want to spend time with? Because that will help me determine that. But every quarter, and it changes. It really does change.
It does. Quick story about this. So I used to be in the investment business, sold an investment firm in 2012. And I thought when I left there, I know how to get investors to invest in other people, because I've been working with investors for my career at that point. And so I started this company called Get Startup Investors. I was teaching startups how to find investors. So I built this enormous coaching program, e-course and everything for startups so they could learn how to find investors. Just the other side of the table, right? Awesome. They desperately needed what I provided. I love working with startups. They're broke. The one thing I forgot to ask was, could startups afford my coaching and consulting? No, they couldn't. Dude, I banged my head against the wall for like a year trying to sell that thing. We sold one client, two for a whole year's worth of work.
Oh man,
Get the method, figure it out, stay on track. Yeah.
So good. So what's the second step, man?
Let me go to number 2. Yeah. This one comes right off of the market, and it's so important, particularly right now when things are shifting so much. The Mastermind message method. Okay. The Mastermind message method. You have to have a method that allows you to get messaging absolutely correct for your market. It doesn't matter where you're reaching your market. The messaging matters. Your market is somewhere. You all need to just demystify I don't know, is it only LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or is it emails, or is it billboards? They're everywhere. Yeah. They're there.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
And if you put a crappy message on all the billboards in your town, you're just going to be the guy who put the crappy messages on all the billboards in your town, right? So let's get the message figured out. And that really comes down to a really simple set of things. You got to figure out your market's dreams, drains, and doubts. What are their hopes and dreams? What are their internal and external fears or issues? Those are the dreams, drains, and doubts. You got to lock that in. And that is a discovery process. We have a very long process we go through at our company. I hate to say it's so long and hard, but you know how hard it is to like get into your prospect's head because it's not you. Like people say you can't read your own label from inside your own bottle, right?
Right.
It's true. So you can't do this again in a dark room. You have to do this out there in public, but there's a simple way to do that. It just takes a minute and takes intentionally stepping away from who you are to who they are. You've now defined that market, and you now have to have a very solid method for going back over and over and over to the messaging. My team and I measure our messages constantly. So this method of having a message process where you can see we're messaging, we're creating posts, we're doing direct outreach, we're sending an email, we're buying a billboard, whatever it is that working as well as it was a month ago or not? And if it's not, go back and use the method, create your own method, folks, or use somebody else's, but find a method that allows you to constantly tweak what's resonating right now. Josh, I know you and I both have like complained about this. When we first got in this business, people were selling all these e-courses like create this evergreen thing and your money's on autopilot. It's so not that way. Humans are dynamic and they change. What you do might stay the same for a decade. How you reach the people with the right message will change all the time. So have a simple method and put that in your workflow.
You know what I love about what you're saying here, Chris, is that you are actually helping make this very realistic, because everybody's selling you, especially when you're starting a business like this, that, running a mastermind or a coaching program is the easiest business you'll ever launch. Wrong. Any business is going to be difficult, and it does take a lot of work. The barrier to entry with a coaching business is the message, period. Because nobody takes the time to figure that out. Because coaching, I think it's more applicable than any other business model, is actually understanding how to talk to your audience. And like you said, it shifts all the time. One of my guests said this thing, he said it over and over again, it stuck in my head, is adapt or die, adapt or die, adapt or die. And it's true, because you talk about the dip you had in January. I had the same thing. It was like April of last year, big dip. And if we didn't adapt, we were in big, big trouble, right? And I think when people look at this, I'm going, okay, well, you've just gave them 3 benchmarks they need to know, right? Which is what's the dream, what's the drain, what's the doubt of that market. And what is the dream, drain, or doubt today? Because back in 2020, it was like, dude, if I could just go to an event again, it'd be amazing. And I still have people who are launching these events going, yeah, everybody's still coming off of COVID, wanting to come to events. I'm like, dude, you missed that 2 years ago, man. Yeah. They've been going to events for 2 years. Let's get it going, right? Anyway, so there's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Once you figure that out too, like Josh, you know as well as I do, going from I don't know why they're not connecting to me and that frustration of ending every Friday. You guys know how this is. You wrap up a Friday afternoon and you wish the week had been better, and you don't feel like you can really enjoy the weekend because you didn't get the connection and the buyers you hope to have during the week.
So true.
You don't want to do that anymore. Once you get this right, all of a sudden by Tuesday, you're like, oh, we're good. This could be Friday afternoon. I'd be happy right now. And that's really an important place to be in your business.
So cool. Well, and I want to throw this out as a tactic. I'm kind of curious to hear a tactic on this too, because I do feel like message is going to be huge. I have found that for me, one of the ways that we test our headlines or our language is I change my, I think it's called your headline on LinkedIn. It's the main thing that people see on LinkedIn. And then we track how many profile views that we get. And if you pay attention to it, your profile views will go up or down. And if there's more, it means your messaging resonated more with what people are actively searching for. It's a really easy litmus test of headlines. Because people ask me all the time, why do you change that like every week? Because we're testing a headline every week. And it works really, really well. And once you find one that hits, like you said, it's like I think you said 3 months, right? 3 to 6 months. Yeah. And then it just stops working. It's so interesting because they change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans change. That's
it's like an expiration date on a gallon of milk. I don't know why. It's not like it's dairy, but it expires. There's something weird about messaging.
It's a real thing. Don't even get me started on that milk concept. I have a whole episode on that. Not really. Anyways.
Why dairy and marketing are the same.
Exactly. Dairy in Mexico. That's all I have to say. Cartoned milk in Mexico. People are going to be like, Josh, you have to explain this now. Cartoned milk in Mexico. You look on the bottom, there's 5 numbers. Whichever one is circled is how many times it has expired and they have repasteurized it and put it back in that container.
That's nasty. Freaking boss level. Yeah.
Nasty. Yeah. Anyways.
Love it. All right. Number 3. Let's go for number 3.
Yes.
Because they build, you got to get this right, folks. They build on these things. So we got the first one, remember, Mastermind Market Method. Second one, Mastermind Message Method. Get the messaging correct for your market, not for you, but for your market. Number 3, the Mastermind Model Method. Love the word method here because I'm a very method oriented person. I have to have steps to follow. So when I was just starting out, I was so constantly confused about what I would teach, how long it would be, what was I going to offer the people? Like, do I have to have all the curriculum built? Is my e-course going to be the right thing? Is it going to be what I have in the e-course? Or is it going to be what I do one-on-one coaching? But I mean, do I have to do one-on-ones? Is it 12 weeks, 12 months, 2 weeks? Like, what am I doing? Is it a mastermind? Is it a group coaching program? There's so many questions that keep most people from going from one-on-one coaching to a scalable mastermind or group coaching model. And if you're like that and you're on the fence and you're like, I so need my life back, my time back, I need my income to go up, but I'm just working like crazy and I'm on this roller coaster where I work with clients and then I say goodbye to a few clients so I can prospect, but now I've got no income. So then I have to work and the whole thing. Stop. Get the model. Get it figured out. Know what your offer is going to be to these people you're sending messages to, and know what your deliverables are going to be that are going to take your time. Josh, you know my world pretty well because you had a lot of conversations with me. You've been around Jill. Like we do stuff. I work 12 to 14 hours a week and I love it. I freaking love the business model because we have the mastermind model method sorted. And this is one of those things where you do get to set it and forget it. Once you figure out the model, it's the part of your business that just spins. All you got to do is figure out how to stay in touch with that market and that message.
I'm going to pause there. I'm sure you were going to pause, but I'm going to give you a pause here. I have found that because you and I both coach the same people, right? They want to be coaches, consultants, agency owners, right? They're all trying to sell something virtual. And what always happens is if it's not selling, they go to the model. They're like, oh, I should maybe tweak the model. And you're like, dude, it has nothing to do with what you're selling. Because when people ask you what to sell for a coaching program, I'm kind of curious. Is there like one size fits all, or you're like, it can pretty much be anything?
It can be anything. It's any model. What matters, the only thing I change on the model is how much time do you want and how much money do you want? Yep. If you're working more than you wish you were, then it's a model issue. If you're not making enough money, it's a model issue. But when it comes down to like, once you sort that out, like, okay, now I'm working 10 hours a week or 20 or whatever you like, and I'm making this much money. Great. Park it.
Right. So good. It's funny because we've been having this discussion in our company too, of like, how far do we want to take this mastermind that we're doing? Because it's been growing pretty well. And we're like, wow, maybe we ought to scale this. And then we go, wait, hold on. Life's pretty good right now. Maybe we just like breathe for a few minutes and not work as hard and grow up to be like Chris Williams one day. Anyways, I tell people this, that I have a printout of your face on my wall because I'm going to be like him someday. I need to actually
like paddleboarding.
Yeah. You have to have a shirt
anything
on.
Not in the office. Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree with that completely, though, is like you have to know the model, and then you have to just, like you said, park it. Is that what you said? Park it?
Park it. Yeah. Put it right there.
Don't change it for years, right? Run it to $1 million, and then you can go, okay, I'm going to change this. Or until you're like, I absolutely hate this. And then maybe you shift. But
yeah,
anyways.
Maybe once a year we look at our model and we're like, I want to do something kind of fun with this one piece up. We change it up, but otherwise it's awesome. Don't mess with it.
Yeah. Well, don't change the
but
offer.
If you don't have that figured out, figure it out. Like, get the model figured out. Remember, your model comes down to what you're offering, because you're selling people something, you're offering them something. And then once they say yes, you got to freaking deliver it, right? Is it one-on-one? Easy to sell one-on-ones. It's an offer and it's a deliverable, but one-on-ones will eventually like bog you down. You'll never get anything done in life. You want to make more money, you got to charge more per hour. That eventually has a cap, right? There's all these things that move with that. So figure out the model, the offer, scalable offer, scalable model. Yeah.
And I love that. And that was a good thought. Scalable
offer, scalable model.
Yeah. So good. That's powerful. We could also name this episode that if we wanted to. What's interesting though, is that I think that there's a different offer for every season, right? So a lot of you have been hearing me tell my story about the last year, but last year was really rough for us. And it was the first time in a while that I had to actually worry about my personal finances. And it was because we had gotten rid of the podcast production side. We'd shifted models, and I was still going out with the same messaging, thinking that it would work, because it worked about 4 or 5 times. And then it just stopped working. It just wouldn't work on anybody. And so we went on a messaging run there. But what was interesting, because a lot of you know this, we sell our mastermind, highly leveraged. I run groups of 20 people and I'm there once a month, right? It's run completely by other people. I really like that model because I can show up, I can give my wisdom to people, I can share with them, learn from them and everything, but I'm not having to deal with the nitty gritty day to day. But during financial crisis moment, I also know that my time is valuable as a consultant. So I said, hey, I'm going to build, this is a mentor told me this. He's like, hey, make it a bespoke offer, right? So it's something that you can go sell. You're not doing this as a scalable offer, right? You're just going to sell it a couple times, leverage, because it's a quick sell. You're going to take that cash, and that's what's going to fund the scalable offer, which in our case is the mastermind. So I think there's a time in the season for it, but the one-on-one model, like you're saying, I think it's optimistic would probably be the best title for it. A lot of people are like, oh, I mean, I could make millions of dollars doing this. And you're like, could being the key word, probably won't, just because you're going to get burned out really fast and realize how hard one-on-one work actually is. So I'm the kind of guy, I think group is literally the best way when you want scale, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm all about that.
Let's go for number 4. Let's get some money in here.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, the mastermind money method. You have to have a way in 2024 to collect the cash. And I don't mean, are you going to use PayPal or Stripe? I mean, what is your closing process? So you have a market, so you have the messaging sorted out, and you have the model figured out. Now you got all these people coming in, but if they're not making a decision, then you're not making any money. And people really like to delay decisions. If there's any uncertainty in their life, even the uncertainty about what you're an expert in that you could solve for them, they will delay the decision. You have to have a model that allows people to make a decision and encourages a decision. And I don't mean talking people into buying something they don't want. I mean, if they know this is right for them, get it done. And if they know this is not right for them, get off the fence and go away and have an awesome life. And maybe you can connect them to an even better coach for what they're dealing with. But ultimately, what is the mastermind money model that you are running that lets you scalably help people make a decision? And when we're talking about this kind of stuff, we're not talking about $97 a month offers that you put on a funnel. We're talking about real income, real life-changing commitment, and real programs that you're running. And that requires a very intentional model. So think about your money-making model right now. What are you doing? Is it working? Are you closing numbers you want to? My guess is, Josh, and I don't want to insult anybody, and this is not an insulting comment, but I know when I'm watching a functional how-to video or listening to a podcast like this that actually gets into the stuff like we're doing, it means I actually have a need and I want something changed. So if you're listening to this, my guess is that you're probably not sitting around saying, I don't want any more business in my coaching world. That's not why you're listening to this. So do the hard work. Sit down with a pen and paper and think through, how are you closing clients? Is it working? If not, why not? And fix it. Because you can get to that place where people are buying from you. Because once they buy from you, you get to actually help them change their lives. That's super important. And that's why you're here. So own that, do the work to get that back in your life.
But that's, I just realized, I don't actually learn very well from books. Funny enough, I learn auditorially. So I like podcasting was my thing, was consuming. But what's interesting is I actually did a media fast for 100 days with business content. I had never done that before. Pulled it out for 100 days and my business had a massive uptick. And this is just a few months ago. And it was because I think ultimately because I wasn't feeding myself with like new ideas and feeling like, ooh, that's a better idea than the one I'm doing, instead of just committing to a process that I know works, right? I mean, what you're laying out here, right? Market, message, model, money. I mean, what an easy model to follow. I've seen it work many times, which is awesome. But also being able to just go, I'm going to run this play. I'm going to run it until it's completed, right? Instead of, okay, I'm going to start this play. Now I'm going to jump to Josh's play. And then I'm going to jump over to Katie's play. And then I'm going to jump to blah, 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 right? You're just picking one and sticking with it. I think it's so brilliant. Can I ask you a tactical question real quick, Chris?
Yeah.
With the closing process, that's where most people, I think, get hung up on. Because like you said, with market, everybody thinks marketing is really difficult. But when you focus on messaging, marketing gets really, really easy. Because you just change the message until it works and then it just clicks and you run with it. The closing process is where I think most coaches run into problems because ultimately that's what they're scared of. So have you found in your business, what has worked best for you from a closing process standpoint? Like, do you have a sales team? How do you work that?
Dude, we could go into this for hours. As a matter of fact, in our mastermind this week, we're teaching both masterminds how we do scalable closing processes. And that can include a sales team. It can include group calls. It can include funnels and videos and things to help people understand what they're getting into before they jump on the call. There's so many layers to that. If I could put one thread of truth through it, it would be very authentic and never start pitching what you're awesome at. Always talk about your market's messaging issues, about dreams, drains, and doubts. Talk to your market about their dreams, drains, and doubts. Make them a compelling offer that you can scale, and then have a scalable yes-no decision-making process where you can actually help them. It's really not rocket science. It is definitely a method. Everything in business, I would say everything in business, except for maybe that light bulb moment of an entrepreneur saying, oh my gosh, I just figured out how to help these people. Everything else in business, in almost any industry, is a method. It's already out there. Somebody's already figured it out. We figured out in the group coaching and mastermind space. You'll figure it out in your space, whatever your expertise is as you're listening in out there. But everything's a method. And several people in our mastermind who are creative ideation type people actually say that the creative problem solving piece is also a method too. We're just humans. We follow patterns. Don't overthink it. Just get a method and run it. I love what you said a second ago, Josh, about like pick the method and run it and don't bounce around. Stay committed.
Stay to the one. I wish somebody had told me that at the beginning, because I spent $300,000 before I actually made my first real paycheck in business. It was because I was like, buy this course, buy this coach, do whatever. And instead of just any one of them, I look back and I've actually run plays from all of them successfully, every person I've hired. And I'm like, if I had just kept running that one and worked on my messaging, I would have crushed it, right? We were looking through them just the other day. I have a tab on my bookmarks tab on my Chrome of all of the courses that we have access to. And I was looking through it the other day because I was clearing out some bookmarks, and I went, man, any single one of those could have taken me to $1 million, but none of them did. And it was because of me, because I didn't commit to one. So I'm like picking one that works well. And one of the things I love I'm just going to tote you around for a second here, Chris. What I love about what you guys sell is that you're about simplifying it and not having 45 steps. I mean, you're talking about 4 steps. And I don't know if I can like give away the punchline, but this is like what you cover in your events. This is the exact model you teach in the mastermind. You just focus in on the model, hone in on the model. And it works so well for people because as most coaches are actually relatively introverted, they're scared to sell. 9 times out of 10, they're scared to sell. But what this helped me do, when I even went through your program, was it helped me realize I don't need to be a salesman, right? All I need to do is talk about the dreams, dreams, and doubts, right? Getting them excited about, what their vision, their dream, and all this stuff. And you go, great, my product is how I'm going to get you there, right? Chris could do the same thing, but if you like me, I'm sold on your dreams. Let's make this happen, right? So I think the way you run it, man, like the play is fantastic. And I'm not really that big of a sports guy. I do love sports, but it really ties well to like a sports analogy of, they practice the same play over and over and over and over and over again until it works. It's not like they're like, well, that play didn't work. Okay, we're gonna like scrap that and put another one in. It's the same play. They run it over. Yeah, especially football before. But anyways,
basketball's not working for us. Anybody up for football?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's change. That's what entrepreneurs freaking do. That
is like, so true.
Let's change sports. Yeah,
I'm really good throwing that basketball. Maybe I should try baseball. You're like, dude, fundamentals. So powerful, man. But neither of us are sports guys. This is really funny. You're a runner. You're a runner. That's a sport.
So not a sports guy. And let me just jump to like one more thing of what's coming up. Is that okay, Josh?
Please go for it.
I don't want to date stamp this, but if you're watching this right now, there should be a link below here. Here's something that Josh and I were talking about earlier, and this is what we're doing just for Josh's group. We're actually recording a digital product around the stuff we're talking about. The mastermind methods that we've been talking about. I don't know, Josh, I think we're selling it for like $2,400, $2,500, somewhere in that range, what we think will turn out to be once we get it packaged. But Josh, you know how I do. I love recording and doing all this stuff live. I like doing it with people. So no closed room recordings for us. Guys, do the same thing yourself. So what we're doing is, Josh, I forget what our teams have settled on, but I know that we've agreed to do VIP tickets for all your people. Yep. And those will be under $200 somewhere. We'll put a link down below or something, and you can be in the live sessions. And if they're VIP, that means you get to be in the live sessions of here's how to do the stuff we're talking about right now today. All these methods of getting your market, your message, your model, and your money figured out. And actually getting our Q&A time as well. That's what the VIP pass gives you. We actually put an extra hour in that event per day just for Q&A. So, dude, like, that's why we're here.
Let me throw in the link so you guys, if you want access to that, it's pantheon.fm/MML, which stands for Mastermind Mastery Live. And I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. I don't believe you should ever attend an event unless you're willing to buy VIP. Period. My reasoning behind that is because the people who pay play. And I've even seen this. So for example, I went to this event, when was it? August? We were not doing very well cash-wise in August. But somebody told me, hey, you should come to this event. And I had promised like 6 months before that I would go. And I went, okay, I'm going to go. And I stuck to my rule. I'm going to buy VIP. I made like 4 relationships in there. All 4 of them closed, by the way, on our high ticket offer. But that room was so much more impactful. And it allowed me to sit down with the host, like you're saying, and actually get really solid value. So, I mean, the fact of like, you said you're doing it for less than 200.
Yeah, we don't do any free events for sure. But Josh, I forget what we did with your team, but it's less than $200. It's like
so awesome.
$97, $147. It's something like that. Look down below. Whatever it is, it'll be in the details.
So good.
Like, we got you guys. I want to express the frustration that I've had before figuring this out. Josh, I know we've had so many conversations at different events we've been to together about how frustrating it has been for both of us and how frustrated we see so many people in the coaching, consulting, expert space as they're banging their head against the wall trying to sort these things out like we had to. You can do this. Please don't recreate the wheel. Just follow it. And I'll say this, if not me or Josh, find someone and adopt their practices. Make sure they're successful in the line of work that you want to be. And if you're a coach consultant and you're trying to build a scalable program, make sure they've actually done that and don't just market that. And then follow their process because it'll be there for you. Yeah. Pick somebody, but do work to get the results. Just please do the right work.
So powerful. And I want to highlight one thing in there too, because you said successful, not rich, right? Look at the one who's the most rich coach you've ever. Look at the one who has the lifestyle that you want. Because if you're going to get into the coaching business, it's because you want a good lifestyle, period. I mean, it's all about leverage, right? And I know for myself, you actually really helped me with this, Chris. I've never actually expressed this to you, so thank you. But for me, I used to say, okay, well, what's our revenue goal? And now it's how many hours can I buy back? What's my hours goal, right? And so I'm looking at how do I cut that down to 30 a week, by the way. You'd be so proud.
Oh, that's really good.
That's really good. It's a really good step. But what's interesting is even doing that, our revenue keeps going up. And it's because we're having to condense work into time, which is what you teach like crazy. But anyways, point being is that if they'll look at the lifestyle of that person too, that's the model you want to pick. In fact, the first guy I hired specifically because I loved the way that he did his business. And he toted around like his lifestyle was this really amazing, non-flashy, but time free. Got to know the guy really, really well. He ended up hiring me later because he was like, dude, my life is in shambles right now. He's like, I have no time. And I'm like, that's freaking crazy. That's crazy. And I think what people don't realize is if you look at that, you can easily slip into a lifestyle problem because you've structured the model wrong. So stick to that. So the real call to action here, let's be real, right? Do you want to work 14 hours a week like Chris and make millions of dollars? It's a genuine question. We both laugh at it, but it's like, that's literally the genuine question. So I would tell you is go to this event first and foremost. Go listen to the recordings. What are you guys calling it? Mastermind Mastery Live?
Mastermind Mastery Live, yeah.
It's going to be unreal,
I'm so
man.
excited about this.
I
love being in front of real humans. I can't wait to see you guys there. Like,
so good.
This is when I get to actually say, I see where you are, tweak this one thing. And it's just like that. Like, let's get in there and do some work.
Let's get it done. Guys, once again, that's pantheon.fm/MML, which stands for Mastermind Mastery Live. Make sure you guys go check that out. And thank you, Chris, for offering them a discount to our listeners. I really appreciate that. You're all my peeps. Chris is my peep. So hopefully the discounts abound. So man, I appreciate you coming on today. Guys, once again, go check out that link. And Chris, thank you for bringing the fire today, and we'll catch you guys all on the flip side.
That event's coming up in like a week or two, guys. Like it's 6 or 7 days away. Anyway, I'll see you guys there.
Get it done.
So stoked.
Get it done.
Boom. Let's go.